funny, we may not realize this in our day, flooded with worship albums and churches defined by their worship team. But in the 1600s and 1700s, after the Reformation, it actually became quite a debate that became quite heated as to whether or not the Bible even allowed singing in the congregational worship of God at all. People had to debate that, argued about that, lost friends over that, were kicked out of churches for their views on that. And then you look at us and we say, well, we're in an age where we know that's true, but we look at individuals. Some of us sitting here right now here today, it would make sense to me if you weren't sure that you were allowed to sing, because you're acting like you don't know. You don't sing heartily, you don't open your voice up, you don't give God the glory that He deserves because of the glory of the gospel. But this has been a normative part of worship to God. All throughout God's redemptive history, He has commanded and expected singing. In the tabernacle and temple worship, they used to have some certain psalms that they would sing as they approach the temple, as they're walking there, getting their hearts ready, singing together. Then they would start their worship service as a prophet or one of the priests would stand up and teach them. They would sing a song at the gate of the temple to ready their hearts for approach. This would be something like Psalm 24. Who can approach the temple of God? Who can ascend the hill of the Lord? He who has clean hands and a pure heart. This was standing at the gate, ready to go through, readying the heart in song. Then there would be a sermon from the Levite, and then they would go through, and then in their approach they would sing again, going through the gates. And then they would also sing as they give sacrifices, they would sing walking around the altar as a sign of saying, this is my sacrifice, this is my song. And then after the sacrifices, when they've been told they are cleansed by God, they would sing other psalms, they would sing other hymns to the Lord. Then also, not only is it a part of the temple worship, but it was also commanded in Psalm 100. We have a song that we sing here that is verbatim Psalm 100 in the English translation. Here's what it says, the first 4 verses. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. There you go. Are you in the earth? Then you must give praise to God. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into His presence with singing. Know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who made us and we are His. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. So enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him and bless His name. A command from Holy Scripture. Enter into God's covenantal meeting place in the church, in the new covenant, with songs and singing and praises. Also, Jesus sung hymns at the Last Supper. We see this in Matthew 26. They sung a hymn, then they went to pray. And then in Colossians and Ephesians, where we see that Paul commands us to sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, making melody as we do so. We also see in Revelation chapter 5, verse 9, that the creatures around God's throne in heaven sang a new song. They composed a song appropriate to the moment, and they sang it together, and all of the creation that God has made joined in singing to the Lamb for His salvation. So let's reiterate. Singing is the expected and commanded response of God's people to God for His work in salvation. It's true of the Old Testament, it's true in the New Testament, and it's true of heaven right now.